Each Monday, we have what we call a readiness reading that's in your Monday compass. If you don't get the email, I want you to tell Sandy, because this is something that we do to set up your whole week. The readiness reading is designed to help you have a sense of what the theme of this week is about. This week's readiness reading was Lamentations, which is not often used in worship. I have a wedding today at Pepper Plantation. I've never heard of Pepper before. I was going to this wedding, but it's right down the road. The couple always, when I sit down with them, has the opportunity to pick the scripture that they would like. They're never going to pick Lamentations, ever. Hardly anyone is going to pick Lamentations for a reading, and that is because it seems so sad, so devastated, and it does because it is. Supposed to be written by Jeremiah. Jeremiah is a prophet. I've talked to you in the last couple weeks where Jeremiah was really hammering Israel and really saying you got to do better. If you have friends that have trainers that are in their class, you're on a bike and you got to go fast, you got to do more jumping jacks. That trainer never says, you know what, I'm really happy with our progress here. Let's just shut it down 15 minutes early. The trainer is always, you are too slow. You're too slow today, and you've been too slow for the last 2 weeks. We got to step it up. And that's the prophet's job, except today. Jeremiah has been telling his people, you have got to get better or these other nations are going to take advantage of us. The other nations have taken advantage of them. The other nations have come in and crushed Jerusalem, and so that no one can come in there and worship. And so, if you have ever been hard on someone and wanted them to get better, then they go through the pain of not getting better, you almost shift to, what was the word we said in Sunday school? Of men. Which is funny, which is the name of the book. You're just, oh, I feel bad for you. How lonely sits the city that was once full of people. How like a widow she has become, that she was great among the nations, is what he's saying about Israel. She that was a princess in the past tense among the provinces has become a vassal. She weeps bitterly in the night with tears on her cheeks. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her. She didn't do what she was supposed to do, and now she is in deep, deep trouble. And that's the source of our first fill in the blank. How lonely sits the city that was once full of people. How lonely sits the city that was once full of people. He is preaching the word to people who have been dominated by Nebuchadnezzar and his people. 5 separate poems are in Lamentations, and they are all really, really sad. And in fact, people today in Jerusalem will go to the Wailing Wall, pray these prayers on the anniversary of that date, very much like, I'm sure, in September of next year. People will gather in New York, will go to the site and read laments about the pain and the suffering of that particular day. In any way, shape, or form they choose. So this is one of the major struggles, not just in Christianity, but in all faiths. How am I to interpret the pain and suffering that is happening to me? And people have all sorts of different interpretations. Is it as a result of my actions? Is it a result of the actions of people around me? Is it a result of how faithful I've been? Is it just simply, this happens to me in this world? If you have 4 friends, they probably have 4 different interpretations. The world is out to get me. I've done everything to deserve this. Someone else did this to me. That all different sorts of interpretations. Now, if we go to our next slide, you get a sense in Luke 24 of how that's carried out today. You got one more. This is Luke 24:21. We had hoped that he was the one to redeem Israel. We had, past tense, hoped that he, being Jesus, was the one to redeem Israel. This is the same sense of feeling hundreds of years later, after Jesus has been crucified. People are speaking in the past tense about any sort of greatness in their life. And I bet you don't have to think too hard about times you've been in your life when you've thought, the only great things in my life were in the past. The present is awful. And the future seems to not be holding a whole lot of improvement. How am I going to get over this? And you have friends that are going through this. It's a delicate thing to navigate, how to speak to them when they feel that way. When they said we had hoped he would be the one to redeem Israel, the people who were following Jesus believed him all along the way as his ministry was getting more and more powerful. He said to them, really hard things are going to happen. How much do you think they listened? When you are driving to Orlando with 3 children, going to that place in Orlando that I won't mention to keep us all settled, and you say, now, when we get there, you're going to have to listen. You're going to not run away. You're going to hold my hand, and you're not going to pitch a fit on the way. How much are they listening on the way to Orlando? Okay, sure, that sounds great. Jesus is telling his people and his disciples on the way, as things are getting much, much better, people are following him, devastating things are going to happen, and they don't listen. So when Jesus is crucified, they're not ready. It was an open book test, but they didn't pay attention. And so they feel a great sense of devastation, of loss. And this happens to us. When we feel like this pain is raining down on us, we think, how could we didn't see this coming in the slightest. So here, the scripture for today is the answer. We start, I think it's on the next slide. Luke 17. This is obviously prior to that. Jesus said to his disciples, hard trials and temptations are bound to come, but too bad for whomever brings them on. Better to wear a millstone necklace and take a swim in the deep blue sea than give one of these dear little ones a hard time. Now, I try to give you different interpretations all the time. That's obviously the message. It's a little bit different. Jesus said, hard things are coming. Difficult road bumps are coming in your life. Just know it. But don't be the person that steps in and makes another person's life difficult. Don't make it harder than it is. And so if you give away the answers to the test, the next fill in the blank is trials and temptations are bound to come. What if we were to know that? In good times and bad, we know these sort of things happen. Sickness happens. Loss of jobs. It happens. Real pain in the economy and in our country, that happens. What are we to do about it? How are we to handle it? Well, Jesus would say, yes, these things come. And they're going to be part of your life. And this is one of the great struggles, especially for people that are new into any sort of faith. I wouldn't say just Christianity, I would say any faith. They are new into it and they are excited about it and they think, I couldn't be happier to be part of this faith, and then something awful happens to them and they say to themselves, how could God allow this to happen?